we started off the season, won quite a few games to start off. Then maybe we kind of started slacking off a little bit. In practice, maybe we didn't work as hard as we might should have. So about midway through the season, we played a game against Altamont Lutheran. We weren't doing very well that game, as we had in the games past. And our coach, he wasn't very happy that night with us. But I was in the game. In one situation, I got an open three-pointer. For the season, my 8th grade year, I was about 2 for 50 probably. So, wasn't a very good three-point shooter, but wasn't very good at much. But I took the shot, and instead of getting nothing but net on that one, I hit nothing but ceiling. That was a pretty embarrassing time. The coach, like I said, wasn't very happy that game, but I did get a laugh out of him that time. That was kind of embarrassing. You might be kind of wondering where I'm going with this, but I'm going to read a verse to you here, Colossians chapter 4, verse 12. It reads, Epaphras, who is one of your number, a bondslave of Jesus Christ, sends you his greetings, always laboring fervently for you in his prayers, that you may stand perfect and fully assured in all the will of God. You still may be wondering where I'm going with this, but the word fervently, the word in Greek, I believe it is pronounced agonizomai. It sounds kind of African to me, but kind of sounds like agonize a little bit. The literal translation is to struggle or to strive in an athletic contest. So, maybe we didn't strive quite as much as we should. Or I didn't strive as much as I should have in practice, and that's why I hit the ceiling maybe. But here Paul compares Epaphras' prayers to his struggling in prayer. So I'm going to compare a little bit of the struggles of an athlete to how we should pray. First, persistence. Persistence is always good in an athletic person. You practice all the time, you keep going. I still play basketball today. I didn't give up after I hit the ceiling. I'm still going. Whenever you hear about persistence in basketball, you usually hear about Michael Jordan. He was cut from his freshman basketball team. That's kind of disappointing, but he kept going and became what could be known as the greatest basketball player of all time. I'd like to read Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8. Now he was telling them a parable to show that at all times they ought to pray, and not to lose heart, saying, There was in a certain city a judge who did not fear God, and did not respect man. And there was a widow in that city, and she kept coming to him, saying, Give me legal protection from my opponent. And for a while he was unwilling. But afterward he said to himself, Even though I do not fear God, nor respect man, yet because this widow bothers me, I will give her legal protection, lest by continually coming she wear me out. And the Lord said, Hear what the unrighteous judge said. Now shall not God bring about justice for his select, who cry to him day and night, and will he delay long over them? I tell you that he will bring about justice for them speedily. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? So the woman, she didn't give up in her begging the judge. But likewise, we should not give up in our prayers. We should continually pray and persistently pray. Number 2, discipline. We should have discipline as an athlete as well as a person who prays. You know, discipline in a basketball game is very good. On defense, if you're out of control, it sometimes can be good, but usually they'll just drive right by you if you're out of control. You try to steal the ball every time. Doesn't always work. And on offense, likewise, you shouldn't be out of control. There's one kid on our basketball team. He kind of reminds me a little bit of the Energizer Bunny. He's always going. And, you know, some games he can score 30 points. And in some games he doesn't score at all. So, you know, we need to be consistent. So whenever we pray, we also need to have discipline. You know, we should keep our thoughts organized to keep our minds from wandering. There's one acronym that I use to help myself whenever I'm praying. The acronym is ACTS, ACTS. The A stands for adoration. First, you give your adoration to God. Next, confession. Third, thanksgiving. And fourth, supplication. Another type of discipline during praying, maybe, we should use. Maybe for small children, this might be good. It's called the 5-finger prayer. First, you have your thumb. It's closest to your heart. You pray for those who you love. Second, you have your index finger, or your pointing finger. You know, those who point the way for others. Teachers, preachers, the school administrators. Pray for those. Your third finger, your tallest finger. You pray for those who lead. Those in the government, president. Fourth, your ring finger. They say this is the weakest finger. I'm not sure if I believe that, but pray for the weak, the sick, those who are afflicted. And fifth, your littlest finger, yourself, the least important. I think these are some very good guidelines to look at whenever you're praying. My third and last point, zeal. You need to have a zeal whenever you're playing basketball and whenever you pray. You have to want to play. If you don't want to play, what are you playing for? You know, you have to have a desire for the championship. Whenever you pray, you should desire the things that you pray for. You should have a zeal for them. Romans chapter 12, verses 11 through 12 reads, "Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer." You know, you shouldn't pray for the things that you don't want. In closing, I would like to tell you a little story that happened to me about prayer. It doesn't really have to do with the athlete kind of thing, but we were in Port Arthur, Texas over the weekend at a young people's meeting, and we went out to eat. It was a kind of expensive restaurant. We were staying with the Martinez family, and so we were sitting down at the restaurant, and Richard Martinez, he says, "Carson, would you pray for the food?" And I misunderstood him, and I thought he said, "Carson, would you pay for the food?" And I said, "Well, no, that's okay, I'm okay." And Dad looked at me like I was crazy, like, "What are you doing, boy? Is there something wrong with you?" And oh man, it was kind of embarrassing, but it was pretty funny. We finally got things straightened out, and I did pray for the food. But remember, we need to pray like an athlete. We need to have persistence, discipline, and zeal. Thank you.